Hydraulic fracturing. Huge issue. This is one of the most important things. I'm more concerned about this than I am anything. Congressman Landry, this is a big issue. This is a huge issue. Because we just saw what happened in the Gulf of Mexico, that the president was able through, because they are controlled and the Gulf of Mexico is regulated by the government, they were able to shut down the Gulf of Mexico. Today, hydraulic fracturing is regulated by states. Every state regulates hydraulic fracturing in their given state because they know the geology, they know the technology, they understand what they need to do to protect the water aquifers and do all the things that they want to do. The first commercial frac job was in 1947. More than 1 million wells prior to 1988 were hydraulic fractured. Today, about 85 to 95% of all the wells that are drilled and completed in the domestic U.S. are hydraulically fractured. A very important process. This is what's changed the whole arena, okay, for the energy industry. This is what's moved us, you know, from being totally dependent on oil to being able to have natural gas and supplies of natural gas and reserves of natural gas that we need to have for the future. Just yesterday, Interior Secretary Ken Salazar told a House subcommittee recently that, well, day before yesterday actually, a drilling technique known as hydraulic fracturing could be the Achilles heel that kills the natural gas industry. They want that to happen. They don't want to see this industry survive because the low natural gas prices, the low oil prices, the new finds out in West Texas for oil, and the Bakken up in Canada and the northern part of the United States, these are providing the reserves that we need to run our country. And there's plenty of it. But it keeps our energy prices low, even though we're feeling like we're paying too much at the gas pump today. But it keeps our energy prices low, and consequently, it also makes it very difficult for them to develop the renewables that they want to be able to develop. When the president talked about 1 million electric cars, you know, within 2 years from now. Well, and it's almost insane. I mean, there's 286 million vehicles in the United States. So if we get 1 million electric cars, and by the way, they're all subsidized, and that million cars will cost more for the citizens and taxpayers of the U.S. than it would be if it was on oil. Then the movie that came out here recently, they called it a documentary. It's really a comedy. It was absolutely absurd. It did get an Oscar nomination. I was terrified. I sat up and watched that, and when Oprah Winfrey walked up there to give that documentary Oscar, I said, my God, we are so in trouble. But they didn't receive the Oscar. But in the meantime, it created a lot of activity across the country. And then, there's a lot of things we can say about it. I can tell you this: the Washington Examiner hit it right. It's nothing but hot air and gasoline. Okay, every single thing. And if it comes up and you hear it, it's still being pushed by a lot of the environmentalists that this is their little baby. They love it. And if you get to hear it, watch it, but understand one thing. Every single point in that documentary, every point was proven false. Yes, I mean, they take a guy, he's got a well, and he's in rural America somewhere, and he turns this water on and takes a match, and he lights it, and boom. You don't want to sit on the toilet and smoke, But it was real. It was real. And the thing about it is they blamed it on because some wells nearby had been hydraulically fractured, but what they don't bother to tell you, that's a natural occurring happening in many areas and rural areas where they have water wells. You do have that happen. We had it up in North Louisiana. We've had it in a lot of different places. They showed polluted water streams, and none of that was real. But I want you to think about this. If the EPA gets control of being able to regulate hydraulic fracturing, which there are studies going on today, and this is what they want to do. Federal government wants the Environmental Protection Agency to regulate hydraulic fracturing. And if that happens, then all you have to do is have one operator somewhere make a mistake, and they will say, well, we need to study this, and you will have every single well in the U.S. shut down. He could literally shut down exploration across the country, just as he did to the billions of dollars investment in the Gulf of Mexico. So that is why this is so important. That's why this issue is so huge, because it can make a big difference in everyone's life. That is the single biggest issue where we're going to go back to work in the Gulf of Mexico. That's going to happen. Now, it's not going to happen anytime soon. Believe me, it's going to take time for all that to take place. But this issue is huge. And it's being worked on. All the environmentalists, everyone's pushing. President's looking at it. Look, the federal government just did a complete study on hydraulic fracturing in 2005. Now they're doing it again. And I will be so surprised if they don't make a big push. Congress can stop it. And that's what we're hoping is going to take place.